Hello students, again this is Dr. Rajneesh Kumar, Associate Professor in NIT Pharmacy Institute, Greater Noida. Once again I am here with a new topic, that is furan. It is again part of the heterocyclic compounds which we have discussed in the previous lectures also. So, basically this topic belongs to the third unit of the pharmaceutical organic chemistry, second subject code is BP 401T. Okay. So, in continuation of our previous lectures in which we have discussed pyrrole as well as the furan. Basically, we have discussed the structure, method of preparations and the chemical properties a little bit about the furan. So, in this lecture we will continue with the furan and we will discuss the reactions and the medicinal use of the furan. Okay. So, without wasting any time, we just come to the topic. So, in the last lecture when we are discussing about the structure of furan, we have seen that furan is a 5-member heterocyclic compounds containing oxygen as a heteroatom, and all the carbon atoms of the furan is sp2 hybridized, and it also shows aromatic character, means it is an aromatic compounds, but furan is more reactive than the benzene because benzene is higher resonance energy than the furan. Okay. So, we can also say that benzene is more stable than the furan. Okay. So, because of the aromatic nature, furan gives all the characteristic reaction of the aromatic compounds, which mainly includes aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction. Okay. So, when I am talking about the electrophilic substitution reaction, we are aware that these type of reaction generally have two steps. In the first step, electrophile will attack on the concerned aromatic compounds at a particular position of the ring, by which it can result in the more stable intermediate carbocation. After getting the stable intermediate carbocation, in the second step proton or hydrogen atom can be removed and we will get the substituted products. But when I am talking about that furan will undergoes electrophilic substitution reaction. So, we have to take care that at which position furan will go for the electrophilic substitution reaction. For example, as you know now that furan has this structure, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will number furan ring like this. So, in the last lecture I have told you that position 2 and 5 of the furan ring are equivalent, while position 3 and 4 of the furan ring is also equivalent. It means electrophile can attack either on position 2 or 5, both are the similar, or electrophile can attack either on position 3 or 4. So, both will result in the same type of products. Okay. So, at which position electrophile will attack when furan will go for the electrophilic substitution reaction. So, there are two possibilities that furan either will attack on position 2 or it will attack on position 3, but we now know that electrophile always attack on that carbon by which it will generate more stable intermediate carbocation. So, we have to remember that in case of pyrrole, where electrophilic substitution reaction will take place as the position 2, in case of furan the similar pattern will be followed, means electrophile will attack on the position 2, that is carbon number 2, or you can say carbon number 5 in furan also. Okay. Because it will lead to the formation of 3 resonating structure, and we know that the number of resonating structure is directly proportional to the stability, means the more number of the resonating structure of the intermediate carbocation will get after the electrophile attack, the more stable will be the product. Of the intermediate obtained by the approach of electrophile at position 2 is more stable than the intermediate obtained by the approach of electrophile at the position 3. Okay. This is the region the electrophile attack occur at the position 2. How we will see. So, there are two possibility, okay, as we have discussed. Electrophile either attack on the position 3 or it will attack on the position 2. So, what happen when electrophile attack on the position 2 of the furon ring? Okay. So, this is the furon ring, this is the furon ring, here this is the furon ring. Okay. When the attack of the electrophile occur at position 3. So, you can see for an electrophile to attack on position 3, it need electrons. So, what happen? These electrons will move towards position 3. So, carbon number 3 become negatively charged and carbon number 2 become positively charged. So, at that time that electrophile will attack on the carbon number 3. So, when this electrophile will attack on the carbon number 3, what happen? We are getting this intermediate carbocation. How? Because electron will move towards the carbon number 3, the position 2 or you can say carbon number 2 becomes positively charged. Okay. So, we are getting the intermediate carbocation and we know that every atom or every species in the nature will become want to become stable. How? By just approaching its natural condition. So, when this carbon become positively charged, this lone pair of electrons of the oxygen will move toward that carbon, okay, and new double bond will be generated in between carbon number 2 and the oxygen of the furon ring. Okay, but at that time, as this oxygen will be donating its electron, this become electropositive. So, okay. So, these two structure will be generated when the electrophile will attack on the carbon number 3. These are called the resonating structure. We can also draw a resonance hybrid by this, like this, because just a minute, I will show you here. Okay. So, these resonating structure of the intermediate carbocation can be represented by the resonance hybrid like this. Okay. So, we have seen this much before, and in the next step of the electrophilic substitution reaction, as I told you, hydrogen will be removed and it will be removed after donating its electron towards the ring. So, H plus will be removed and we will get the substituted products. What happen if electrophile will attack on the carbon number 2? So, in the same manner, the electron will move toward the carbon number 2. So, carbon number 3 become electropositive, while carbon number 2 become electronegative. At that time, when carbon number 2 have the negative charge, that electrophile will attack on the carbon number 2, okay, and we are getting that first resonating structure of the intermediate carbocation. Now, we are having positive charge on the carbon number 3, that positive charge will be delocalized all around the ring by the delocalization of the pi electrons which are already there in the ring. So, as you can see, these electrons will be moved towards here, okay, at a new bond will be formed in between the carbon number 3 and carbon number 4, but at that time a positive charge will be generated on the carbon number 5. In the next step, the oxygen having the lone pair and those lone pairs of the electron will be moved towards in between carbon number 5 and the oxygen atom. A new bond will be formed in between those atoms, but at that time oxygen become the electropositive. So, you can see when the electrophile attack on the position 3, two resonating structure will be formed of the intermediate carbocation, while when electrophile attack on the position 2, a 3 resonating structure will be formed of the intermediate carbocation. And we already know that more is the resonating structure, more will be the stability, and after that reaction will always move forward in the direction where it will get more stable intermediate carbocation. So, by that you can understand the electrophilic substitution reaction will always prefer carbon number 2 to attack, because it will provide more stable resonating structure of the intermediate carbocation. Okay. And in the next step same things occur, proton will be removed after donating its electrons, and we are getting the substituted products. So, where two probability are there for the electrophile to attack, the attack will always preferred on the position number 2, and that 2 substituted electrophilic 2 substituted furan will be the major product in all the electrophilic substitution reaction. So, I hope you can understand now. Now, come to the different reactions, electrophilic substitution reactions of the furan. We will discuss one by one. As I told you earlier in the previous lectures also, that you have to remember 4 or 5 main reactions. So, again I am making you remember that halogenation, nitration, sulfonation, alkylation, acylation, formylation. So, these 6 reactions you have to remember in general. You have to remember the exceptions also, if any exceptions are there with any heterocyclic molecule. So, we will go through one by one. So, you can see the first reaction is halogenation, and you can see when furan is reacting with the bromine in the presence of dioxane and at 0 degree centigrade, you can see bromine will be substituted at the most preferred position, that is carbon number 2, and we are getting 2 bromofurans. So, furan react with the halogens. In case of in place of bromine, we can also take chlorines, iodine. Okay. So, when furan reacts with any other halogens also, it will give 2 halofurans. Furan react with bromine in the presence of dioxane at 0 degree centigrade, we are getting the 2 bromofuran. We can also get the 2 chlorofuran, we can also get 2 iodofuran, depending on the halogens which we are taking for the reaction. Okay. So, again reaction mechanism will be the same as we have discussed previously in the first step. Or you can say total 3 steps are there. Okay. We are adding one more step, that is generation of the electrophile. So, first of all we have to generate electrophile, that is what will be the electrophile in the case of halogenation, that is X plus. Okay. That will be the electrophile. Okay. So, in the first case electrophile will be generated, in the second case that particular generated electrophile will be attack on the furan ring at the carbon number 2, and in the third step proton will be removed after giving its electrons, and we are getting 2 halo substituted furan as a products. Okay. Now, come to the next reaction, that is nitration. So, we know already or we already remember that first of all concentrated HNO3 was used as a nitrating agents. Okay. Sometimes concentrated HNO3 and H2SO4 both are used, okay, for the nitrating agents. Okay. In case of furan, nitration of furan is achieved by reacting with the HNO3 in acetic anhydride. Directly we are not using HNO3 here, because it will cause deterioration of the furan moiety, because like pyrrole, furan is also little bit acid sensitive. So, what we are doing? We are just taking the reaction mixture of HNO3 and acetic anhydride. Okay. So, by reacting nitric acid with the acetic anhydride, we are generating a new compound, that is acetyl nitrate. That compound acetyl nitrate will be used as a nitrating reagent in case of furan. Okay. So, when furan reacting with acetyl nitrate, the nitro groups from the acetyl nitrate will be generated as an electrophile. That nitro group will be attack on the furan at the, again you remember now, at the second position. Okay. And we are getting 2 nitrofuran, okay, as a substituted product. So, you have to remember we are not using nitric acid here, we as a nitrating mixture, we are using mixture of nitric acid and acetic anhydride, which are reacting together to give a new species or new compound, that is 2-acetyl nitrate acetyl nitrate which will be now reacting as a nitrating reagents with the furan. Okay. So, acetyl nitrate, I am again repeating, acetyl nitrate will generate NO2 plus, that is here X plus is an electrophile, here NO2 plus will be the electrophile, which come from the acetyl nitrate, and that HNO2 will react now on the position number 2 of the furan, and we are getting 2 nitrofuran in the same reaction mechanism as we have discussed before. Now, come to the next important reaction, that is sulfonation. So, again I am just making you remember that the general sulfonating reagent is concentrated H2SO4 sulfuric acid. Okay. So, or sometime we are also using fuming H2SO4, but in case of furan, you just remember pyrrole, we are not using concentrated H2SO4 directly. Okay. So, we are like pyrrole, furan is also do not or you can say will not react with the H2SO4, because H2SO4 can cause deterioration of the furan. Okay. So, we are using mixture of sulfur trioxide and pyridine, okay, pyridine as a sulfonating mixture in case of furan. So, when furan reacting with sulfur trioxide in presence sulfur trioxide and pyridine in the presence of ethylene chloride at 100 degree centigrade, we are getting furan 2 sulfonic acid. So, I am again repeating, we are not using H2SO4 directly here, we just using mixture of sulfur trioxide and pyridine in ethylene dioxide as a sulfonating mixture, and temperature should be little bit higher. Okay. So, when again repeating, furan when reacting with sulfur trioxide and pyridine in the presence of ethylene chloride at 100 degree centigrade, we will get furan 2 sulfonic acids. So, you know that what will be the electrophile in case of sulfonation, that is SO3H plus. Okay. That electrophile will be generated from the mixture of SO3 and pyridine in ethylene dioxide, and that will react on the carbon number 2. Okay. So, after that we are getting furan 2 sulfonic acid. Now, coming to the next important reaction, that is Friedel-Crafts acylation reaction. So, again you know that for acylation what will be the electrophile? Electrophile is RCO plus. Okay. So, we have to generate the RCO plus the electrophile. How we are generating? So, we are using the same reagent as we were taking in the previous reactions also. We are taking acetic anhydride that will be used as the compound which will generate acylium ion, or our electrophile, that acylium ion will be attacking on the carbon number 2 of the furan, and as a product we are getting 2-acetyl furan. And remember, the whole reaction or whole acylation reaction is going on in the presence of BF3. Okay. So, the next important reaction is reduction. Okay. So, as you can see, in the presence of some metal catalyst like nickel, okay, furan is reduced at higher temperature to the tetrahydrofuran, mean both the double bonds of the furan get removed. And how? Because 4 atom of the hydrogen will be added at second, third, fourth and the fifth position of the furan. So, on catalytic hydrogenation of the furan, the tetrahydrofuran is obtained. Tetrahydrofuran is used as a solvent in place of ether in the Grignard reagent also. Okay. So, in the presence of catalytic hydrogenation, catalytic means nickel is used as a catalyst, and we are going for the hydrogenation at higher temperature. Both the double bonds of the furan get removed by the addition of 4 hydrogen at second, third, fourth and the fifth position. Okay. So, the next important reaction is Gattermann-Koch reaction. So, when furan is treated with mixture of HCl and HCl in the presence of Lewis acid catalyst AlCl3, you can also use FeCl3. Furfural is obtained as a final product. So, here you can see what is happening actually. When we are saying that mixture of HCl and HCl is used. So, how it will react? So, first of all HCl and HCl react together in the presence of AlCl3 and we are getting a new compound. That new compound will now react with the furan in the presence of same Lewis acid catalyst. 1 mole of HCl get removed and we are getting furan 2 carbaldehyde, which is also known as the furfural by the simultaneously removal of the by the simultaneous reaction with the water, that is hydrolysis. So, this is very simple and important reactions. Coming to the next. So, the next reaction is Diels-Alder reactions. We already aware of the Diels-Alder reaction. We have studied many times in our previous chapters also. So, we know that for the Diels-Alder reactions, one dienophile is there, one dienes is there, and dienophile is there. मतलब एक डबल बॉन्ड होना चाहिए, है ना, और उससे प्यार करने वाला होना चाहिए, डाइनोफाइल होना चाहिए. सो furan is the only heterocyclic compound which undergoes Diels-Alder reaction. This is important point. Okay. We have discussed pyrrole before, but we didn't discuss Diels-Alder reaction because pyrrole will not undergoes the Diels-Alder reaction. Okay. Remember this point, furan is the only heterocyclic compound which undergoes Diels-Alder reactions. Diels-Alder reaction is a cyclic addition reaction of 4p system to the 2p system. So, here you can see furan is there, maleic anhydride is there. So, when I am talking about furan, if I hide this oxygen atom, okay, you can see a diene is there, okay, 2 double bonds are there in the conjugation. So, this will here I am taking the second molecule, that is maleic anhydride. So, if we hide this portion of the maleic anhydride, you can see a double bond is there. So, we know that if we just a minute. This is the classical examples of the Diels-Alder reactions, where we are reacting dienes with the dienophile. So, you know that how it is happening like this, and we are getting the adduct. So, you just compare this classical Diels-Alder reactions with the this reaction. So, just imagine when I am hiding this portion of the furan, it is looking same as you can see in the lower reactions. When I am hiding this portion of the maleic anhydride, you can see that it is same as in the lower reactions, and both the furan and maleic anhydride are reacting at little bit higher temperature, and we are getting the same adduct. This oxygen which you can see, this is actually the oxygen of furan, and it is actually present in the different plane of the compounds. So, these are the classical examples of the reactions of the furan. Now, come to the most important part of the furan, that is, as I told you, it is very important molecules, okay, very important molecules. So, furan can be used in many pharmacologically active drugs as a moiety. Okay. So, it is so important that furan ring itself responsible for the many pharmacological action of that particular compounds, okay, where it is already present. So, several types or several category of drugs are having furan moiety in their structure. For example, first of all antimicrobial drugs. So, nitrofurantines and nitrofurols are the very common examples of the antimicrobial drugs which are having furan, as the name suggests, furantine, furols. Okay. So, you can easily remember the name of those antimicrobial drugs, as the name also contain furan in their structure. So, like name contain the furan, the structure is also containing the furan ring. Okay. Some anti-inflammatory drugs, for example, pyrocoxibs is also furan ring moiety in the structure. For example, some diuretic drugs. Okay. So, diuretic drugs having several use, it can also be used in hypertension also. Okay. So, furosemides, very popular diuretic drugs, which is having furan in their structure, as you can see. Then come to the very popular drug, that is ranitidine. Okay, antihistaminic drugs which can be used in the peptic ulcer also, in acidity also. So, ranitidine is a very popular drug. It can be obtained by different brand names, for example, Aciloc in the markets. So, ranitidine is also having the furan ring. Okay. Then muscle relaxant drugs. So, some muscle relaxant drugs are also having furan ring. Okay. So, for example, dantrolene. Then antihypertensive drugs, for example, prazosin is also having furan ring in their structure. So, these are the few examples of the drugs which are having furan. A list is a little bit longer. So, several drugs are having furan moiety in their structure. So, these are all drugs. So, this is all about the furan. Students, I hope you have understood in the better manner. So, thank you so much. We will meet you in the next lecture. We will talk about the next heterocyclic compounds, that is thiophene. So, thank you so much for now. Take care.